Justified Season 6, Episode 8, Dark as a Dungeon. Now, we finally got to see what was going to happen with Walker and kind of what he was going to do sort of as like this nomad character who left the group that he was in after he was involved in all the crazy stuff and the just insane shootout where like 3 people ended up getting killed. And in this episode I was really surprised by the way they did things, because it seemed like, okay, he's going to work with Boyd. That's where his storyline's going to go, at least for a while. I didn't think he would, stay alive throughout the rest of the series, because I feel like with this being the final series, pretty much every bad guy is going to get killed off, like, one by one. Some of them probably will end up surviving, maybe some of the people that work with Boyd. Boyd himself may end up surviving, and he does just end up going to prison, and Raylan kind of gets him that way compared to how he typically gets all the main villains, where it's like a crazy showdown or something and he ends up killing the guy. But I didn't expect Walker to get killed off in this episode, especially, like I said, with the way they did things with Boyd saying, alright, we'll work together, you kind of know the inside of things, you know the plans, you have the idea of how we can get here, how we can get this money and stuff. And then, Raylan comes to the house and things kind of go south. He gives them up. It's like $100,000 and he gets that money, which is actually kind of funny when they go to pick up the money and Markham's like, like of all the people, this is the guy who ends up doing it, but technically he was the one that helped. And so Walker gets killed in this episode, and they had a funny little moment too after Raylan shot him. He was like, it's not fair you shot me in the back. And of course, Raylan, being as slick as he is, he's like, well, if you wanted to be shot in the front, you should have run towards me. And I thought that was just a funny line. It was kind of messed up because he did just kill the guy, basically. But it was still a funny line. And, we didn't really get to hear his final thoughts where he says, like, it wasn't just for the money. It was, for something else, but he dies before he finishes that. And we may get to hear from the other guy. We may end up hearing it from Markham himself, but it was kind of interesting to hear him say that. Like, I don't know if it's something really important that we're going to find out, or if it was just, it's kind of what we do because they were soldiers, and so they kind of do it because that's what they believed in. And obviously they stuck with this guy because they believed in him, and it was partly because of the money. But they believed in him, and so that's kind of why things ended up the way they did, and that's why he kept going. So maybe that's what it was, or maybe it's, like I said, something else that we're going to find. But it was definitely surprising to see him go down this path like really quick. Like, he's gonna end up being a partner with Boyd, and he's gonna give them this info, and then he's gonna kind of escape the city. And it goes from that to he gets killed off in this episode. But I like this character. He was definitely interesting, especially from the beginning. He was like this weird enigma character, like, we're gonna buy this land and stuff like that. And then we kind of learn more and more about him as the season went on. And now he's gone, and so we have like Markham and one other guy. It's just these two, and then you have Boyd trying to go after Markham, Raylan trying to go after Markham as well as Boyd, despite the fact that they Markham and Raylan work together in this episode. And it's sort of like a weird triangle. Like, Markham's really just trying to stay out of everything, so he's not going for anyone. But he's got 2 people going for him. Boyd's got one guy going for him, and then Markham, once he kind of decides that he wants to bring his other guy back in, he will have someone going after him again too. So it's sort of a weird triangle that in some cases it goes in both directions, in other cases it's like one direction or something like that. So I can't wait to see how things kind of play out from here and exactly what kind of goes down. But we had a bunch of other cool little moments too, with Raylan looking into Ava's uncle, and also Boyd getting to talk with Ava's uncle in this episode with everything that happened. And I love the scene they had where he's like, this isn't the first time I've lost someone, and her uncle's acting like it's such a big deal to him. And he's like, how much are you trying to shake me down for? And he's like, I guess another 10 grand will do. He's like, I'll give you 5. And then he's like, you're just trying to shake me down as if you give a crap, or as if you haven't experienced this a bunch of times anyway. And like he said, it's for someone you've known for one day. So it was definitely interesting. And then when Boyd went, or when Raylan went to see him yesterday, and I didn't know what he had in the box at first because I wasn't looking, and I don't know if they actually showed it before Raylan came up behind him. He was like, what's, hey, how you doing? But he threw over the little tarp. I'm like, that's just too easy to get busted on that. Like, it's a little tarp over some dynamite. I'm like, I know he's going to get caught in this scene. And, of course, that's exactly what happened. Raylan did what he does. He punched a guy, get out of my way. You know, oh, look at that. This tiny, itty-bitty little tarp. You know, obviously he wasn't expecting it, so, you know, I can't blame him for that. But it was kind of funny. And then they punch each other, I think, 2 times each or something. And then it's just like, yeah, I'm done. I don't like getting punched. I'm already a little tired because it's real life. And that was it. I enjoyed that little scene. It was just like, you know, Raylan decided, like, I'm not going to take you in, but honestly, either way, you're pretty messed up right now. You get in with Boyd Crowder, especially going up against, you know, the Markham, you really kind of messed up. You stepped into it a bit too far, and I don't really need to take you in for you to really be in a crappy situation. So that was an interesting little scene, and I don't know if that's really going to change anything with Ava's uncle or anything like that, because he's trying to basically kill Boyd anyway. Like, he tried and it failed, and so now I guess that was his backup plan. Like, well, I couldn't kill him off by accident, so I'll just try to get a bit extra money out of him before, you know, he takes off, because he knows he's not really getting like a huge cut out of that, or any cut really. He's getting paid to do that so that Boyd can get the big money. So, you know, I don't know how things are going to advance for them and stuff, but they did basically get busted in this episode. And after everything was said and done, and Boyd got his money, Markham kind of got upset that he was giving Boyd money. And, you know, Raylan is in the basement, and I had no idea what to expect. I'm like, are they blowing up the final thing right now or something like that? I didn't know if it would blow up and the whole safe would fall or something crazy or what. But they blow off, I think it was like 3 or 4 separate explosions, and it was far down, but it was loud enough to hear because it's freaking dynamite blowing up, you know, in a cave. The sound is kind of just right there, and of course it shakes everything. So, you know, Raylan kind of knows what's going on there, and that was definitely a great moment, because I didn't know if it was going to happen when Boyd was in there, and they were going to have to kind of have this moment where they look at each other, and it's like, you know, Boyd has to kind of play things off like, you know, oh, it's, you know, something shaking or whatever. But Raylan seeing that and having that little moment by himself, it's like he knows a little bit now what's up. And also he was, of course, told at the end of the episode by Ava exactly, you know, where they were going. And obviously he saw the dynamite, so he already knew what was happening anyway. And, you know, I thought that was just a really cool moment, because I kind of wish it did happen with Boyd in there, just to see what he would say as, you know, as a way to get out of it and lie and say like, oh, I didn't even feel that, or, you know, whatever. But it was still a cool little moment where he's like, okay, I kind of, you know, knowing about the dynamite and stuff, and kind of being able to feel that and hear that and see that it affects, like, you know, a little water on the table like Jurassic Park or something. He knows how close they are now to really getting you know, getting into the basement and getting to the safe. So I thought that was a cool little moment. He kind of mentally now, he from that has a timetable when you think about it, at least a little bit, where it's like, you know, like it was enough to feel it and hear it and see the effect on some little things in the room. That gives you a bit of a timetable. And also he worked in the mines before, so he does know a little bit about it and stuff like that. So I thought that was a cool little thing. They didn't need any dialogue, and it was one of those scenes where you do kind of have to think about it. Like, just that little moment gives him a lot of information as far as timetables, and he already knew, you know, Ava's uncle was working with him, but, you know, he knows he has other people too, so stuff like that. Of course, Raylan finding out that Ava, I believe he said she was burned at the end. I think that's the term he used, but he knows that she's been caught and that she's not working with Boyd, so I don't really know what to expect from that in any way, but I'm definitely excited to see how that stuff plays out. And, you know, she's busted. He knows he can't really ask for too much information, and he can only trust so much now from anything that she says. I believe she gave him like all the correct information in this episode, but he knows that he probably won't even believe that 100%. I'm sure he'll at least run with it, because that's all he's got as a lead. But that's it. Like, it's pretty much done now. It's what he believes. He's fairly sure, and she's kind of just out of it now. And I don't know if he's gonna kind of confront her with that. And he'll probably wait, because his main thing is, I do have to get Boyd. So he might let her kind of do her thing before trying to send her back, because he knows that'll just cause Boyd to really shut down, and then he won't have a case anymore. There won't be any leads to follow or any little minute details that he can follow up on, because Boyd will completely shut everything down because he won't have Ava by his side. So I'm excited to see how that stuff plays out and what Raylan really does decide to do. And it should be an interesting couple of episodes leading up to the finale, and yeah, I'm just excited for it. And we also had the chief going around and still doing his thing, trying to figure out who is actually the one that snitched on the guy who ended up being killed in prison, even though it was deemed suicide. And he kind of has the information that the woman gave him that she received. So I don't know what to expect from that either, but I'm definitely excited. I hope he follows up on that, and he, whatever avenues he can go down that she isn't able to go down. Although in their city, it seems like everyone can kind of do everything if you're powerful enough. So whatever little information he may be able to add on to whatever is in that file, that could lead him to Markham, which, if they take out Markham first, they may or may not be able to go after Boyd, because things are kind of going to be shut down, assets frozen, blah, blah, blah. And all that money would be taken from the safe. So it's sort of an odd race, because if they do take out Markham, that's what would happen. They would take all of his money and things like that, and Boyd would have nothing to go after. So I have to assume Markham won't be busted as the rat, and if that happens, he wouldn't be. If that happened, he'd be killed off really early, because I don't think she would wait for Boyd to steal the money. I think she would, if she really, really knew, I think she would flat out just kill him. That's probably what would end up happening. Although she did say her plan right now is to marry him, and basically after a certain amount of time, she'd be allowed to get a certain amount of his money anyway, and that's kind of her plan if things go south at this point. So I thought that was actually pretty smart on her part too. Although at the same time, it kind of sucks, because it seems like she really just hates the guy, because she does believe that he was the one that ratted out her husband, and that's why her husband is now dead. So either way, it kind of sucks for her having to go through all this crap, even just right now, whether Boyd is able to take the money or not. But I'm excited to see how things turn out. It was definitely a great episode. With everything that happened, and Raylan realizing Ava is definitely burned and is no longer useful as a CI, things are definitely going to change. He's going to be different around her. He knows he's going to have these gut feelings and stuff like that. So he's going to know, which was really fast. He only knew it only took one episode for that to happen. And it's just going to change things for Ava, really, especially when things come to a close. Them deciding whether or not she should go back to prison, or whether or not they'll actually let her go. So I can't wait to see how that stuff plays out. I definitely love this episode, of course. I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And what do you guys think about them killing off Walker after sort of introducing the fact that he would kind of work with Boyd? Because I was actually really excited for that. And then Boyd and Walker working together is actually what led to Markham and Raylan working together. And then, of course, once that kind of ended, everyone's back to their own little corners of being enemies. But I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool idea. I was really hoping that he would last a couple episodes, because I figured it wouldn't be like, oh, we can call this guy in and then he'll help you escape and that's it. It's it's justified. I figured they'd try to get this guy to help. He wouldn't be able to, or it would half work where he got so far, and then Walker would have to kind of either backtrack or once again kind of do his own thing, maybe even call in Boyd and able to actually get him out of that situation, or he would rat them out or something like that. And then he just 10 minutes later he's getting shot in the back twice and he's done for. So I was actually really surprised by it. But like I said, I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.